Hello everybody and welcome to another session of English Foundational Language with myself, Bav from Indigo Development. If you've seen our previous ones, you will know the format now. Relatively short, fun, interactive, and you should learn and know something at the end that you did not know at the beginning. If you haven't seen any, please do. Please stick with this one and continue to watch the ones that are to come. Let's get right into it. As in the previous sessions, here's an icebreaker. It's fun, there's no right or wrong answer, and if you're with someone now, family member, friend watching this, you could pause the video and have a discussion. If you could be any app on someone's phone, which one would you be and why? Which app and why? It's a bit of fun. Over to you. In this session, we're going to focus on reading again. So the reading part of English language. Now, for those of you that are preparing for the IELTS, and I know a number of you are because you contact me about it, here's a reminder. You get 60 minutes to complete the reading part of the exam, and there are 40 marks. Now, these are based on 3 sections, which increase in difficulty. For the academic IELTS, that's texts that gradually get longer and harder. For the general IELTS, there are 3 sections with a series of texts. Now, it's important to stress at this point in time that you don't need to know every word in every sentence, but you need to have an understanding of the general ideas because the questions will be based upon what you comprehend. What have you understood? So, what we are going to do in this session is I'm going to give you 3 pieces of text which are slightly longer than the previous session. In the previous session, you were given multiple choice questions. A question with 4 choices, you had to select the correct one. Now in the IELTS, they do change it around. So there are some questions like what you'll see today. You need to state whether the statement is true or false or not given. What this means is there's not enough information for you to say either true or false. So you're given a piece of text, then you're given a series of statements, and you need to decide whether they are true, false, not given. Let's go through each one. I'll read it to you, then you will pause, you'll read each statement and decide if it's true, false, or not given. Let's do the first one. The restaurant was fully booked, yet the manager managed to find us a table within 5 minutes. He remained calm even though there were more people behind us. We were all waiting to be seated. We really appreciated his hospitality. There's a short paragraph. I'm going to ask you to now pause, read the 4 statements and decide true, false, or not given. Over to you. Okay, so I had read the passage to you, but I wanted you to read each statement by yourself and decide on true, false, or not given. I did not read it for you deliberately because it's the practice that you need to put yourself through to read and understand. The first one, the restaurant was fully booked when they arrived. That's true, and that's stated right at the beginning. The restaurant was fully booked. Straightforward, true. Second one, B, the manager found them a table immediately. Well, that's false because it says in line 3 that he found a table within 5 minutes. So that isn't immediately. B is false. C, there were 5 people waiting behind them. Well, line 5 says there were more people behind us. It doesn't say how many. So actually, that's a not given. There's not enough information to state it was 5. And D, they appreciated the manager managing the situation well. That's true. Look at the last line. We really appreciated his hospitality. So, we're going to do the same format, different texts for different statements. let's do the next one. So here's the next one. I'll read the text, I'll ask you to pause, you then read the full statements and decide on the true, false or not given. Visitors are reminded to keep noise levels down in a museum to maintain a peaceful environment for all. Please ensure small children are kept with an adult. Eating is not permitted, but you can have a bottle of water as you walk around. On weekends, the museum closes at 5 p.m. Pause the video, read the full statements, and decide whether it's true, false, or not given. Over to you. Okay, once again, I did not read the statements to you. That's for you to read, to understand, and then decide. A, no one is allowed to speak in the museum. Well, that's false, because at the very top of that paragraph, it says visitors are reminded to keep noise levels down. That does not mean silent. It just means you need to speak quietly. A is false. B, every adult must have a small child with them. False. Now, if you look at line 4, ensure small children are kept with an adult. It's not an adult with a child. It says that every small child must have an adult. So I can understand why some of you may have said true there. Reading to understand, in this instance, it's false. B is false. You are not allowed to eat in the museum. Lines 5 to 6 says very clearly, eating is not permitted. Therefore, it's true. And then D, the museum closes at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Now, that is not given because if you look at the last sentence, it says, on weekends, the museum closes at 5 p.m. It doesn't say anything about weekdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So actually, there's not enough information there for us to decide. Okay, one final one. I'll read the paragraph and then you will decide on the 4 statements. The team worked overtime for 1 week to meet the deadline and was rewarded with an extra day off. Each employee worked an extra 10 hours at least. The business owner was pleased and gave them a choice of extra money or a day off. Most chose the extra day off, so this was granted. Over to you. Okay, so you know the format now. 4 statements. Let's go through each. The first one, the team worked overtime for 2 weeks. That's false. It says in the top line, it was for 1 week. That should be straightforward, should be easy. B, every employer worked exactly 10 hours of overtime. Well, if you look at line 3 to 4, it says each employee worked an extra 10 hours at least. So that is false because B says exactly 10. And yet the paragraph says at least. They're 2 different things. C, the business owner chose the reward for their overtime. That's false. It says he gave them a choice. The business owner gave them a choice of extra money or a day off. So it was their choice, not the business owners. Last one. Next time they do overtime, they will get extra money. Well, there's not enough information there for us to know that. So it's a not given. They may not. We simply do not know. Okay, I hope that was helpful and you learned something, especially about the format of the IELTS, because this is one of the types of questions you can get. You can rewatch this, pause it, look at the explanation, reread it. And as always, come back to us, comment, and any feedback you give us will help us in future sessions. Thanks for joining. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.